Welcome back to Quick Films. Today I'm going to explain an American horror thriller film called Trailer Park of Terror, released in the year 2008. Spoilers ahead, like the video and subscribe. The movie begins in 1981 with Norma, the movie's main character. Norma lives in a trailer park called Troffitt Meadows. The neighborhood is quite shady, with lots of perverts around who keep irritating Norma. Despite the number of thugs and perverts, there are some girls of Norma's age who she gets along with. One day, Norma gets ready for a school dance while her partner Aaron waits outside the meadows for her, accompanied by another one of the trailer owners, Roach. As the couple prepares to get away, other men, Stank and Marv, suddenly approach and start harassing Aaron while teaming up with Roach. Although Norma desperately tries to stop the commotion, Stank pushes Aaron, who accidentally falls on top of some iron rods and dies. Norma is devastated, and the guys also hang their heads in guilt. Frustrated with her situation and the neighborhood she lives in, Norma leaves. After walking for a while, she comes across a car full of snakes in its trunk. As she arrives near, the snakes disappear. Suddenly, the car owner approaches her despite her trying to get away. He then reveals that he's a magician and knows everything about Norma's life. Norma is taken aback by the claim, but she continues listening. The strange man mentions Aaron's death and how Norma's neighbors have turned her life miserable. He then hands her a gun, asking her to take revenge against her perpetrators. With anger in her eyes, Norma takes the gun and starts walking back to the trailer park, but as she turns around, the stranger and his car are nowhere to be seen. Later, when the men in the trailer see Norma with a gun, they get scared and run away from her. However, Norma begins her killing spree by first eliminating Roach, followed by Marvin Stank. She also kills China Girl, an Asian spa owner, and Larlene, a meat lover, as the two have always troubled her. Following this, Norma locks herself in a trailer, leaks a gas valve, and burns herself to death. After the incident, it's revealed that many people mysteriously vanished from the place without any traces. 27 years after the incident, Lewis, a vertical Trinity pastor, takes a group of students home from an outdoor, character-building vacation in the mountains. The group consists of 6 troublesome students: Alex, Amber, Bridget, Jason, Michael, and Tiffany. Later, the group stops at a bar on their way home to take a break from driving. A television broadcast warns of an impending hazardous storm as they enter the building. While Lewis plots shortcuts to get home as quickly as possible, Jason takes some pornographic magazines and holds Lewis responsible. Meanwhile, Bridget walks into the bathroom and interrupts Alex and Amber kissing. Elsewhere, Tiffany gets some pills from an older man at the bar, but Bridget knocks them down before Tiffany can use them. Later on their way home, a heavy downpour occurs, making driving difficult. Just then, Alex starts irritating everyone, and when Lewis loses his cool, he gets distracted and the bus collides with another car on the road. Fortunately, no one is harmed and the group quickly gets off to observe the situation. After a bit of searching around, Lewis spots a sign leading up to the Troffitt Meadows trailer park. Although the group is skeptical about the location, they follow Lewis as it's already dark and they have no other options. When they reach the park, Lewis knocks on one of the trailers, seeing the lights on. However, when no one answers, he opens the door and lets himself in. Suddenly, Norma appears in front of him and invites them inside. When Lewis asks for a phone, she replies that she doesn't have one. Hearing this, the kids start doubting her, but Lewis assures that she can be trusted. Soon, Norma reappears in a seductive outfit and offers them sweet tea. She also makes a move on both Alex and Lewis from under the table. Suddenly, the power cuts off, and Norma brings out a lantern and asks the group to share some scary stories. While they're conversing, Bridget finds a picture of Norma with her mother and asks Norma to share her story. Following this, the movie goes into a flashback where Norma lives with her mother and her stepfather. She tries to warn her mother that her wicked stepfather is trying to take advantage of her by making her act in a cheap porn. However, the latter replies that she's doing all this to ensure Norma has a good life. Her mother then sends Norma to China Girl to fetch lipstick for her. Outside, Marv calls Norma out for some help as her stepfather, the sheriff, gets inside the trailer. Norma, Marv, and Roach try to work in a new trailer when Mac, the owner, interrupts them. However, China Girl calls him inside for a massage in her Asian spa, letting the 3 of them get to work. Meanwhile, Norma takes some items to Stank and informs him that her mother is ready. Later, Marv steals Mac's truck and drives away, and when Mac tries to stop him, China Girl kills him on the massage table. Elsewhere, Norma returns with a lipstick to find her naked mother and the sheriff fighting while Stark records the scene. He throws Norma's mother on the bed and tries to force himself on her. When she tries to get away, the sheriff shoots her in the head and kills her. The two devious men then complete the recording with Norma. Back in the present, as Norma shares her story, the rain stops and power comes back. She then escorts the boys to the Asian spa and the girls stay in the sheriff's trailer. Lewis, on the other hand, is unable to control his urges as he watches Norma undress from the window. As the girls sleep, Alex suddenly scares them and sneaks inside to meet Amber. Elsewhere, Bridget and Tiffany leave the trailer as they start making out. The girls try to find a new place to stay while someone watches them behind the shadows. Soon, they reach Larlene's trailer, and when Bridget tries to turn on the lights, Tiffany tells her not to as she doesn't want to see her surroundings. In the next scene, Lewis knocks on Norma's door and she pulls him inside, kissing him. As they get physical, Norma's face suddenly starts changing, scaring the life out of Lewis. He tries to get away, but unfortunately, Norma detaches his head from the body and kills him. Later at night, a strange noise wakes Jason up, and he gets up to investigate the sound. Upon reaching, he suddenly sees China Girl in front of him wearing a mask. She offers him a massage for a good night's sleep, which excites Jason. He lies down on the massage table, waiting for physical intimacy. However, China Girl attacks and kills him. Meanwhile, Michael hears the commotion and gets up to see China Girl trying to attack him. Terrified, he quickly throws a vase at her and locks himself in a room, but she manages to break the door down. As he's about to be killed, the floor beneath him suddenly breaks and he manages to crawl away. Elsewhere, Tiffany suddenly wakes up with a strong scent of weed and gets up to find the source. She gets outside and follows the smell to Roach's trailer, where she finds a few drugs and starts using them. As she gets intoxicated, Roach appears in front of her. However, she thinks she's hallucinating, and when Roach starts to cut her hand, Tiffany doesn't feel any pain due to the drugs. On the other hand, Bridget wakes up to see Larlene in the shadows and runs away. She reaches Roach's trailer to find him attacking Tiffany. When Roach sees her, Bridget runs away scared, and the former starts chasing her. She reaches a strange place with Roach behind her tail. However, he steps on a mine and gets blown to pieces. Despite this, he's still able to talk, warning Bridget to be careful about the surroundings. Suddenly, she sees a grenade lying on the floor and runs away with it, leaving Roach to call out to Marv and Stank for help. Meanwhile, when the drug starts to wear off, Tiffany gets out and returns to Larlene's trailer. She tries to run away, but Larlene traps her. Soon, Bridget reaches the trailer to save Tiffany, but gets terrified to find Larlene eating her. She then throws the grenade at the trailer, blowing it off to pieces and launching her out. In the next scene, Stank finds Alex and Amber and brings him to Norma's place. When Stank sets up his studio lights, Alex tries to run but fails. Just then, Norma appears in the room and confronts the terrified kids. Stank keeps recording in the background as Norma scolds the kids for disrespecting Lewis and brings out his head in front of him. She then forces them to apologize to Lewis. Alex complies, but Norma bursts in anger, belittling him for apologizing to a dead man. After a while Stank forces Alex and Amber to get intimate with a camera over his head, Alex pushes Stank, but the latter doesn't budge. As the recording continues, Norma arrives with Marv. Just then, Alex manages to escape, forcing Stank to go after him. After this, an enraged Norma shoves a gas pipe into Amber's mouth and eliminates her brutally. In the next scene, Stank hangs an unconscious Alex in his boiler room, preparing to carve his skin like an animal. He then removes a patch of Alex's skin and tries to feed it to him, but the latter refuses. Because of this, Stank gets angry and sinks Alex into a pot of boiling oil, frying him instantly. Elsewhere, Michael crawls up to see Bridget lying unconscious on the ground. He wakes her up and the duo proceed to leave, but just then, Marv arrives and locks Michael into a cage before chasing after Bridget. She finds a car and attempts to start the engine when, suddenly, Norma hits her with another car from behind. Marv attacks her from the other side and Bridget steps on the gas pedal. In the process, she runs over Michael's cage, killing him. As Bridget gets out of the car, the group of dead people surround her. Frustrated with the situation, she yells that all she ever wanted was to be loved for who she is. Hearing this, Norma sees a piece of herself in Bridget and makes her lose consciousness as the night is about to end. The following day, as Bridget lies unconscious on the road, a car stops nearby. Witnessing her, the man gets out and wakes her up. Bridget is scared and shaken up by the events of the previous night. The man then offers help and gets Bridget back on her feet. He also helps her get inside his car. As she's seated, Bridget sees the trailer park in ruins, as if it has been the same since years. Here we get to know the people she encountered before are ghosts. and they only appear at night. After a while, the man starts the car and drives away. After they're gone, the magician that gave Norma the gun appears. He watches them for a while and disappears while walking away, and the movie ends.